I didn't know what I wanted to be in my career. So I started doing all kinds of things. During my first years, I started my first company. So with all of these experiences, that is when I thought I need to stick with tech and product because that is something that I really love doing it. During my final year of engineering is when I started building a community, a side project called Merge Intern. Airtribe, the entire course was amazing. The last part, that community, right? So that was the best part of Airtribe, like how every person inside the community talks only about product. You get to learn a lot of things from every other member.
As a founder, you don't get paid, at least not paid enough, to pay the bills sometimes. But as a product manager, which is one of the most lucrative roles in tech, you get paid quite well. Hey Akshay, how's it going?
Hey Navneet, it's going great. It's been a long time since we caught up.
We did meet at the meetup, right?
Yes.
So Akshay, we have met a couple of times, but never got a chance to really know each other. I really wanted to know a little bit more about where you come from. How was your childhood like? If you can tell me a little about that, that would be really helpful.
I was born and brought up in Bangalore. So did my schooling, and while I was in school, I was fascinated about electronics. That time it was just coming up, right? So I was fascinated about destroying things, like removing up and then building them all together once again. So that was what I was more keen on, and that's when I started learning about all of these electronic gadgets, learning more about computer science. And then while I was in my 11th grade, took up electronics, then was more fascinated towards that, more keen towards programming, how a product's built. That time this IoT wave was going on. So
basically you liked tinkering with all these things.
Correct. After that, during my graduation, while I was doing the undergrad course, I realized after I got into my college that the only companies which used to come to a college was these Infosys, TCS, Wipro. But I never wanted to get into those kind of companies. That's when I later realized that startups was the thing that I had to get into. Started doing internships with startups. Just when I used to go and then meet founders and then ask them if I can get an internship with them. That was how I started my career with. And then I later realized that I didn't know what I wanted to be in my career. So I started doing all kinds of things. Right? Started from doing call support to sales, marketing. Then I was a developer and then was a data scientist.
Mm-hmm.
So I did all of these things while I was in college. During my first years, I started my first company. It was an IT services company. That's when I started getting some freelance projects. So I thought why not I start company on my own and then start building a team. This is during my first year of engineering, and I didn't have any mentorship. So that's what I did, a lot of mistakes during that time. Did it for a couple of years, and during my third year of engineering, that's when I joined a company called Foreign Admits, where I was the first hire there. I was given the role of data scientist to build a product. So with all of these experiences, that is when I thought I need to stick with tech and product because that is something that I really love doing it. And while I was younger, my dad got transferred to Germany. That's when we all moved there. But during the course of time, I didn't have any friends, didn't have anyone to connect with. All of them were new. It was a different country altogether. And then after that, over a period of time, I realized that's what community is. That was what I was missing there. And then that's when I learned more about communities. During my final year of engineering is when I started building a community, a side project called Merge Intern. So during that phase is when I built a community about student developers. About 15,000 student developers were there, and used to train them courses, used to run hackathons, conferences. And then during that, I met a lot of HRs. That is when started with the actual founder journey. of Worky.ai.
So Akshay, I noticed you have mostly been a founder even after college. I would love to know more about why you became a founder and how was the journey like with your first startup after college?
After my college, I started talking to a lot of HRs, talking to a lot of founders. While I was talking to a lot of founders, that's when I realized that performance is something that sits on top of all the founder minds, day in and day out. That's when Worky.ai started. Worky is an employee performance management system where we help companies managing their people, performance, and potential. So we had from doing their goal setting, feedback, appraisal, the entire part of an employee performance system. It is a B2B enterprise SaaS tool, and then we had over 20 companies using it. During the course of Worky, we also raised a round of funding as well to global angels from US and India. That helped us scale up, and we got amazing set of mentors throughout the journey. During that, used to attend a lot of meetups, to meet a lot of founders, learned a lot of things from them.
That must have given you a lot of exposure and a lot of learning. I'm curious to know what was your exact role at Worky and how did that lead to, you doing product?
So as a founder, right, we are a generalist, but what I used to do in Worky every day was build product and manage the tech, manage the entire product from starting ideation to coming up, and then also implementing it with customers. So this was what I was doing every day.
You were anyway doing product without probably, knowing you were doing product because as founders, we know our job is to understand the customer problems, build the right product to solve the problems. But we probably don't know what are the frameworks, tools, techniques that experienced product managers use.
Right.
That's something I also went through. It took me years to know what I was doing was product management. You recently took a role as a product manager, right?
Right.
You joined this early stage company called EventHQ.
EventHQ.
So Akshay, you are also part of an Airtribe cohort. How did you discover Airtribe?
As a founder, as I earlier mentioned, we go and then meet a lot of other founders during a meetup. And I remember Kshitij, who is also a teacher here in the present cohort, organized a meetup called BUX Meetup that is in HSR. That's where both of us met, and you shared more about what Airtribe is. That's where I got into this idea, wanted to understand more about what you teach. And when I got to know about Airtribe and then I was like looking at the website, that's when I realized this is what I'm doing every day, but probably not using the right set of tools, right set of frameworks that is required for the day-to-day job as a product manager. During the end of my startup, that's when I reached out to you, wanted to understand more about this Product Management Launchpad. Then that's when we spoke in detail, and that's what I realized that this is something that I want to do in my career, being a product manager. And that's how I discovered it.
Yeah, I remember meeting you at that meetup. And I also remember my admissions team asking me, there is this guy, Akshay, who wants to speak with not just any instructor, but you. And I said, why? And they were like, no, I think he has met you and he really wants to speak with you to understand how did you go through the, founder to PM journey? Because I had gone through this, probably why you wanted to know it. And I remember getting on a call with you and you asking me, Navneet, is it really possible? And how hard it is to become a PM after becoming a founder. So I want to know how your experience with Airtribe has been like so far.
Right. Airtribe, the entire course was amazing. Let me start off with the instructors, Naga, Siddharth, Kshitij, then Double, and obviously you have been such amazing mentors, instructors. And also we had like multiple groups as well, right? So we had separate set of mentors as well. They really helped us to get into the real world problems. How every PM does in a company, right? So that was amazing. And the last part, that community, right? So that was the best part of Airtribe. Like how every person inside the community talks only about product, and you get to learn a lot of things from every other member during the course as well. Which I really liked was that community members coming up and then they sharing their knowledge, what they really are good at, right? So that was pretty amazing.
I think you're talking about community sessions that we do. In fact, one of the community sessions was taken by you,
Right.
if I remember correctly. You said there were some amazing instructors and mentors as part of the program, and you learned a lot from them. I would love to know more about how did it help you in your new job. You recently joined EventHQ, a startup, as a product manager. Uh, can you talk about how you are leveraging the learnings from the course in your current role?
Sure. So I have learned all of these topics that in the launchpad in a very structured way. What all resources that I have to use on my job, right? So this really is helping me in my current role at EventHQ. Moving on from a founder mindset and to only a dedicated product manager role, right? That I have to do day in and day out. That is really helping me throughout my job. Understand, like starting from user research to the entire setting up of the product. That is what I've been doing in my current role.
What's the difference you have seen in managing a product as a founder versus a product manager?
As a founder, you do multiple things, not only a product every day, right? You're a generalist there, but here you manage only the product. And that's what you do every day. That's what you think, breathe, right? Only about the product. How can we make the product better? What are some of the things that our product is not working on? And then understanding customer pain points. So this is what we're doing every day.
There is one big difference that I have seen and I wanted to talk about. As a founder, you can say, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be built by the team, and people will go and build it. But when it comes to the role of a product manager, you have to influence without authority. As a founder, you have a lot of authority. As a PM, you do not have a lot of authority. You have to learn to work with all the stakeholders to get what you want. So I think this is one big difference that I have seen. And apart from that, like you said, in a PM role, you focus only on building the product. There is one more thing that I have noticed. As a founder, you don't get paid, at least not paid enough, to pay the bills sometimes. But as a product manager, which is one of the most lucrative roles in tech, you get paid quite well. So Akshay, what would be your advice to people who are very new, very new to product management? They probably read somewhere this is a very high impact, high paying role, and they want to get into it.
I would suggest them first to start off with understanding why do they want to get into product management, understand more about what products are, how are they being built, not just getting right with a wave of product management. And lastly, definitely should talk to Airtribe team and understand if they really should get into product or not.
So basically you are saying why is most important here.
Correct.
Like if they know why they want to become a PM, then there are lots of resources out there, including Airtribe, where we can help them figure out, help them navigate the journey to becoming a PM one day. But I think the most important thing is they having the clarity.
True.
What's next for you, Akshay?
I've just started on with this role. I'm loving this and then want to continue this. And then after some point of time, would love to get back to the entrepreneurial journey back once again.
That's great to know, Akshay. And all the best for that. It was really, really nice meeting you today and learning more about your journey. We would be always there to help you out for anything that you need. And look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much, Navneet. Thank you for having me here. Let's meet up soon.
Yeah, sure. Why not?